I don't know how many of you are familiar with J.J. Newberry.
J.J. Newberry's, that is a five and dime store.
What do goldfish, hot dogs, and sewing kits have in common? For much of the 20th century, you could find them all in one place, J.J. Newberry's. With its bustling lunch counters, colorful aisles, and friendly staff, Newberry's wasn't just a store, it was a daily ritual, a community hub, and a small-town landmark. Generations grew up with it, and then, seemingly overnight, it disappeared from main streets across America. How did such a beloved chain vanish so quickly? Join us as we look at what really happened to J.J. Newberry.
J.J. Newberry's was kind of the new store on the block, moved into Idaho Falls. They got the best location, and they got the biggest store.
Every chain starts with a single store. So, how did J.J. Newberry make his first move? John Josiah Newberry was born on September 26, 1877, in Sunbury, Pennsylvania. Like many young men of the time, he started working early. As a teenager, he worked for a railroad company, but that wasn't where he'd make his mark. In 1894, he stepped into the world of retail. He began working at a store called Fowler, Dick & Walker, where he stayed for about 5 years. After that, he joined S.H. Crescent-Comey, another five and dime chain. There, he immersed himself in the business and learned what made these stores succeed. He paid attention to shopper behavior and store operations, and he dreamed of one day running his own retail business. That dream became reality in December 1911, when Newberry opened his first store in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. The idea was simple: offer practical, everyday items at low prices. Back then, a few pennies or nickels went a long way. The store quickly gained popularity thanks to its affordability and welcoming atmosphere. Just 1 year later, in 1912, Newberry opened his second store in Freeland, Pennsylvania. His early momentum was undeniable. Recognizing the opportunity, he continued expanding without hesitation. By 1919, Newberry wasn't working alone anymore. His brothers, Edgar A. Newberry and C.T. Newberry, had joined the business. With their support, the chain continued to grow. By that year, the company had opened 17 stores and reached annual sales of approximately $500,000, an impressive figure for the time. But Newberry's success wasn't just about revenue, it was about experience.
The main entrance for it is over here. And when this place was open, they used to have little arcade games.
Walking into one of his stores was more than a shopping trip. It was an event. Some stores featured pianos used to demonstrate sheet music. Tanks of goldfish and small animals captivated children. Families came for the bargains, but they lingered because the environment was engaging and fun. Lunch counters also became a staple. Customers didn't just browse shelves. They sat down for a sandwich or a cup of soup. Kids enjoyed treats while parents shopped. The stores felt personal and community-centered. Each town's store was a little different, but the overall feeling was consistent: bright, clean, and full of surprises. People trusted Newberry stores. The prices were low, the service was friendly, and there was always something interesting on the shelves. Maybe socks, sewing kits, or a new toy. By the end of the 1910s, J.J. Newberry had grown from a single-store owner into the head of a thriving retail chain. And his journey was only beginning. With a single store capturing the hearts of its community, how would J.J. Newberry harness this early momentum to expand beyond Pennsylvania and establish a regional presence? The roaring 1920s marked a turning point for J.J. Newberry. His Pennsylvania-based stores already had strong local roots, but he aimed to grow fast. Rather than opening new locations one by one, he began acquiring established chains to speed up expansion. A major acquisition came in December 1928 when Newberry purchased Britt's Department Stores, a Spokane-based chain. This move gave him a strategic foothold in the Pacific Northwest. Initially, Britt's stores kept their original name, but by 1930, most had transitioned to the Newberry brand. Newberry prioritized prime downtown real estate, long before suburban malls dominated the retail scene. One notable location was the former Britt's store in Spokane's historic Wolverton building. Shoppers recalled a vibrant atmosphere with piano demonstrations, snack counters, and tanks filled with goldfish and small animals. Lunch counters became a hallmark of the Newberry experience, offering affordable meals like hot dogs, soups, and full plates of fried chicken with sides. These weren't just food counters, they served as informal community gathering spots. Newberry stores were crafted to be more than just retail outlets. Warm lighting, friendly staff, and colorful displays helped foster a welcoming, family-friendly space. On Saturdays, families running errands downtown would often stop by after visiting the bank or local businesses. For many, Newberry's became part of a weekly ritual. By the late 1930s, Newberry's had built a reputation for dependable value throughout the East Coast, Midwest, and Pacific Northwest. While each store reflected its local community, the brand emphasized consistency: clean, well-stocked aisles, cheerful service, and surprising finds. Expansion continued into the post-war era.
J.J. Newberry's was an American five-and-dime store chain in the 20th century. It was founded in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
In 1959, Newberry acquired Hested, a regional five-and-dime chain founded in 1909 in Fairbury, Nebraska. The deal added stores across Wyoming, Missouri, Ohio, North Dakota, Colorado, and Nebraska, strengthening the company's presence in the central U.S. These acquisitions helped Newberry's grow into a national brand while still retaining the personal, neighborly touch that made it beloved. For decades, it offered more than just goods. It offered an experience, one rooted in tradition, community, and everyday joy. As the 1920s ushered in a new era of consumerism, how did Newberry's evolve from a regional player to a household name, becoming a staple in towns across America?
Management by his brothers C.T. Newberry and Edgar A. Newberry in 1919, at which time there were 17 stores with yearly sales of over $500,000.
The 1940s ushered in a post-World War II boom. Soldiers returned home, families grew, and Americans re-engaged with consumer life. J.J. Newberry was positioned perfectly. Dime stores, offering affordability and convenience, fit the era's needs. Newberry's stores thrived. Shelves were stocked with socks, sewing kits, candies, and even small pets like goldfish and hamsters. Lunch counters served simple favorites: grilled cheese, hot dogs, soups, and sandwiches for just pennies. This was the golden age of the five and dime, and Newberry was a standout name. By the early 1950s, the chain was flourishing. Familiar layouts and predictable pricing made shopping a comfortable experience. Whether families, teens, or the elderly, customers found trust, or just a place to meet and chat, in every store. When J.J. Newberry passed away on March 6, 1954, the company had grown to 475 stores, marking a remarkable rise from its single-store origins. His legacy endured. Even after his death, the brand expanded. By 1961, it operated 565 stores with annual sales nearing $291 million, and it managed larger department-style outlets like the Birmingham flagship. A standout example of this growth is the 1961 renovation of the Birmingham A.L. store, located in a 6-story building. The update included a 156-seat basement cafeteria, multiple lunch counters, bakery, snack bar, and departments spanning cosmetics to pets, complete with tropical animals upstairs. The lunch counter experience was social and sensory. The aroma of hot dogs, the clinking of dishes, and animated conversation filled the air. These stores were more than retail, they were community hubs. By the mid-1950s, Newberry's was woven into American culture. Its branding evolved, from block letters on storefronts to a flowing cursive logo in the 1960s. omnipresent on signs, bags, and windows. Though J.J. Newberry wouldn't live to see the full extent of the company's reach, by 1954, the foundation he laid had made Newberry's a trusted, familiar name in towns from coast to coast. The aisles and lunch counters he championed remained vibrant for another decade, proving his vision had truly taken root. After J.J. Newberry passed away in 1954, the company didn't slow down. In fact, it grew even faster. The brand had a solid foundation. People trusted the name, and the leadership team kept his vision alive. Between 1954 and 1961, the company expanded rapidly, from 475 stores to 565 in just 7 years. Sales reached approximately $591 million. For a dime store chain, that was a remarkable achievement. With more stores came more customers. In many towns, Newberry's was one of the busiest stores on the block. Despite its growth, the chain stayed true to what made it special: dependable lunch counters, friendly service, and low prices. Store designs remained consistent: bright lighting, long aisles, and a familiar lunch counter offering sandwiches, coffee, and hot dogs. Some locations still featured fish tanks or a small pet section. Children stopped in for candy while seniors came to chat or enjoy a cup of coffee. Even as it scaled across the country, Newberry's kept its small-town feel. The goal wasn't just expansion, it was staying connected to the people who loved the brand. In 1962, Newberry's revived the Brits name, a chain it had acquired years earlier, and used it to launch a more upscale version of its stores. The first of these was Brits of Birmingham, which opened in December 1962 in Alabama. This new format included updated decor, expanded departments, and even a full-service cafeteria. That same Birmingham store became part of a significant moment in American history. On April 3, 1963, it was the site of peaceful civil rights sit-ins, part of the larger Birmingham campaign. At the time, lunch counters in many southern stores were still segregated. Black customers could shop, but they weren't allowed to sit and eat. Activists challenged this by sitting at the counter and requesting service, calmly but firmly. Their actions made headlines and highlighted the role of public spaces like Newberry's in the ongoing struggle for civil rights. The protests were a reminder that these stores weren't just places to buy socks or candy. They were public gathering spots, and part of the broader conversation about justice and equality in America. Even with social tensions rising, Newberry's continued to grow. The stores remained busy, the counters stayed full, and the brand maintained its reputation as a trusted neighborhood fixture. Whether for a quick bite, an everyday item, or just a friendly face, Newberry's remained part of the fabric of American life. By the 1970s, J.J. Newberry was still a familiar name. The stores looked the same. Lunch counters were still serving, and customers still came in for fabric, candy, and household basics. But in 1972, a major shift occurred. McCrory Stores acquired the Newberry chain. At the time, Newberry operated 439 locations and remained a trusted name in American retail. The acquisition strengthened McCrory's position in the five and dime market. Still, McCrory understood the value of the Newberry name and chose to keep it on storefronts. Store formats remained largely unchanged. Bright lighting, long aisles, racks of fabric, pet sections, and friendly service all stayed in place. The lunch counters continued offering simple favorites like sandwiches, hot dogs, and coffee. Shoppers in regions like the Northeast and California made Newberry part of their weekly routines. Most locations were still found in busy neighborhoods or town centers, just as they had been for decades. However, the retail landscape was shifting. Shopping malls were becoming dominant, drawing customers away from downtown stores. Meanwhile, big-box retailers like Walmart and Kmart were offering extended hours, vast inventories, and convenient parking, advantages that traditional five and dime stores couldn't easily match. To stay competitive, Newberry had to keep prices low, but that left little room for profit. McCrory, meanwhile, pursued an aggressive expansion strategy. Throughout the 1980s, it acquired several other chains, including S.H. Kress, G.C. Murphy, and TG&Y. These acquisitions were meant to create a nationwide presence, but managing so many distinct brands brought operational challenges. Still, Newberry stores retained their charm. Customers knew what to expect: a familiar layout, warm greetings, and small surprises in every aisle. Despite changes behind the scenes, most shoppers noticed little. To them, it was still Newberry's, reliable, approachable, and part of the community. Yet, even the most beloved brands face limits. As McCrory grew rapidly and the retail world evolved, financial strains began to mount, setting the stage for bigger challenges in the years ahead. While the familiar name remained on storefronts, how did the shifting retail landscape and corporate strategies begin to erode the very essence of what made Newberry's special? The name was still standing, but the cracks were beginning to show. By the early 1990s, Newberry's stores looked much the same. Lunch counters still served sandwiches and shoppers still browsed for fabric and candy. But the retail landscape around them had shifted dramatically. Shopping malls had become the new standard. Big box giants like Walmart and Target were expanding rapidly, offering extended hours, massive inventories, ample parking, and lower prices. They were modern, convenient, and increasingly dominant. Shoppers, drawn by the promise of more for less, began to drift away from traditional five-and-dime stores. Newberry's tried to adapt, but the limitations of the old model became clear. Operating costs were climbing, but price expectations remained low. Foot traffic dwindled. Behind the scenes, McCrory, the parent company since 1972, was saddled with mounting debt from years of aggressive acquisitions and expansion. In 1991, McCrory shuttered 229 stores in an early effort to reduce costs. The following year, it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. At the time, the company operated about 820 locations across its various chains, including Newberry's. The closures were swift and widespread, and for many towns, the loss felt personal. Newberry's wasn't just a store, it was a gathering place, a local fixture where families had shopped and shared meals for generations. Things continued to deteriorate. In 1997, McCrory announced another round of closures, this time eliminating 300 stores nationwide, including 38 in California. Stores closed in rapid succession, leaving behind empty storefronts and fading signs. A once vibrant retail presence was vanishing from America's main streets. In a final attempt to stay relevant, McCrory rebranded many of its remaining locations in 2000 as Dollar Zone, following the rising popularity of dollar store formats. Everything in these stores was priced at $1, but the transition stripped away much of what had made Newberry's unique. The lunch counters were gone, the pet sections, and the friendly, familiar atmosphere disappeared. What remained felt impersonal, just another discount store in a crowded market. The effort failed. Most Dollar Zone stores struggled to attract customers and shut down soon after. By late 2001, McCrory entered full liquidation. By February 2002, the last remaining Newberry stores closed their doors for good. So, what went wrong? The world changed, and Newberry's didn't change fast enough. Big box retailers offered more choices at lower prices, and they adapted quickly to shifting consumer habits. Meanwhile, McCrory's heavy debt load and scattered brand portfolio left it too stretched to evolve effectively. But perhaps the greatest loss wasn't financial. Newberry's had always been more than just a store. Its charm lay in the experience: the smell of popcorn, the clatter of dishes at the lunch counter, the soft murmur of conversation, the simple joy of browsing. When that atmosphere faded, so did the reason to return. Still, the memories lingered. People remembered sitting at the counter with a hot dog and soda, buying toys with pocket change, or tagging along with their parents on weekend errands. For some, it was the first place they ever spent their own money. When Newberry's closed, it marked more than the end of a brand. It marked the quiet passing of a more personal era in American retail. A time when shopping was slower, friendlier, and rooted in the heart of the community. As the once beloved chain faced decline and closure, what lasting impact did J.J. Newberry leave on its communities, and how do those memories continue to shape our understanding of retail today? Even after the last Newberry store closed, people didn't forget. The memories lingered. Into the early 2000s, folks still talked about the lunch counters. They remembered the hot dogs, the goldfish tanks, and the steady clatter of dishes behind the counter. In small towns across America, Newberry's was more than a store. It was part of everyday life. People met friends there, sat and talked, or stopped in after school. It was warm, familiar, and woven into the rhythm of the community. In Birmingham, Alabama, the downtown Newberry's closed in 1995. A year later, Massasoit, a 6-story building, was demolished. But for many, memories of its cafeteria and lively crowds remained. The store had been a cornerstone of the neighborhood. As the years passed, most Newberry locations either closed or were converted into other businesses, like drugstores or retail chains. But the name endured in local memory. For generations, it had meant quality goods, friendly service, and small-town connection. Even poets remembered. Donald Hall mentioned the Newberry's lunch counter in his poem Beans and Franks. His words recalled not just food, but the subtle beauty of everyday life and the nostalgia of childhood. In its later years, some Newberry stores were rebranded as Dollar Zone, part of a last-ditch effort by McCrory Stores, which had acquired the chain. These stores sold fixed-price items but lacked the original charm. The lunch counters were gone. So was the warmth that once defined the Newberry's experience. Soon, the stores themselves vanished. What changed? The world moved on. Shopping malls became the norm. Big-box retailers rose. Online shopping arrived. Newberry's, like many five and dime stores, couldn't keep up with the shifting retail landscape. Yet its legacy remains. It gave people a place to gather, offered kids a safe and lively spot to explore, and helped towns feel connected. It left behind more than just merchandise. It left lasting memories. Even today, remnants appear: a vintage sign, an old menu, or a shopping bag listed online. And when people see them, they smile. Though Newberry's has vanished from main streets, it continues to live on, in stories, in memories, and in the hearts of those who remember.